John Wick 3. It's uh it's pretty good. Keanu Reeves still kicks ass. I mean, the guy's like 54 years old and he's still moving around like crazy. I mean, I personally twist my ankle while I'm sleeping, so anyone that can walk in a straight line without falling over is impressive to me. But he's 54 and he's doing crazy rolls and judo and things that I can't imagine how to do properly at all. And he does a lot in not only this movie, but the whole John Wick trilogy. It's insane what he can do, and the fight scenes are visceral and violent and choreographed really well, and they're all different in their own ways. That's something that can get a little tiresome is if you have a movie that's a continuation on from a lot of other movies, the fighting can feel a bit stale, especially if it's not supernatural or magic powers or just powers in general. If it's based in a more real world, then the fighting can get old. And the gunplay is still awesome, but they keep on upping it in these movies. There's knife fights, there's still the gun fights, there's fights with dogs, there's hand to hand combat, and even the gunfights, they still manage to continuously up them and make the threats more of a threat, even though we've seen. I have no idea how many people John Wick killed. Like, it has to be in the hundreds at this point. Not quite thousands, but he is only human. And I just love the world that has been created here. And one of the things that I really like about it is that it's not always explained in a way. They set up this world and they show you the world, but it's not told why the world is like it is. And that's something that a lot of fiction can get caught in, explaining how the world is similar to ours, but different, and how it's different, why it's different, and when it became different. This just establishes a world and tells you how it is, and that's it. That's how it is. And it's great. It doesn't get caught up in the little moments that are kind of weird in the world, but it establishes a universe that can continually grow, and new stories can be told in it. And new stories are going to be told in it. I mean, I don't know how much money this made, but it did kick off Avengers from the top of the list, like, of the week. Avengers was like its fifth or fourth week. So it was probably about time. The movie looks really good as well. It has vibrant colors and different locales. And I mean, John always looks the same. He looks tired and battered and bloody. Looks real good in a suit. But the places around him change in a really interesting way. Even the buildings that he's been in for the past three movies still look different and have a different atmosphere in this movie. And that's something really impressive, to be able to make things new in the third movie. You really should see the other movies before this one. And it's kind of a weird thing to have to clarify that you should see the movies leading up to this, but it's something that we've been dealing with recently in the past couple of years. With Infinity War and an Endgame, especially, people were upset or surprised that you should only really see it after seeing at least some of the other movies. It's super weird to me. If you're telling a story and you're going to see the third part of the story, if you're reading a book and you read the final chapters of the book, it's reasonable that you would be confused as to what that is. The only way that that really works is if you're not telling one continuous story. If you have a movie and you make a movie and you tell the entire story that you want to tell within that movie, and it does so well that it gets picked up for other films, that's when it comes into the you don't need to see the other one necessarily. But with movies and how they're built nowadays, it's more likely that you're getting a sequel than not. Oh, that's probably a bit of a stretch. Most of the movies that I see in cinemas that have made it that far from Hollywood are most likely to get a sequel. Not most movies are most likely to get a sequel. That's naive. Movies are hard to make in general. but every now and then you get something that's made really well. Sometimes you get three things that are made really well in the same story, and it's still fun, it's still visceral, it still makes me cringe at the bone crunches and everything. And I mean, the only really thing that I can drop John Wick 3 down on is there are a lot of crotch shots. Like, I don't remember there being as many in the other movies, but a lot of nuts being kicked and punched and maybe shot and bitten. It was enough that I definitely noticed. But besides that, super fun, super enjoyable. The world is fascinating but doesn't over explain itself. I can't wait for the next one, and there's going to be a next one. It might actually already be announced, I'm not sure, but it's happening. And I can't wait to go out and watch that movie and be happy with it because the quality throughout all of these films has been solid. It's pretty good. It's fun, enjoyable. Fun and enjoyable are very similar things, but slightly different, I guess. Something can be enjoyable without being fun. Can it? It's pretty. Lots of action. Not as much driving. The first movie had quite a bit of driving. This one had a little bit and some cool motorcycle scenes, but not as much muscle car driving. Which, I mean, there are other movies dedicated to that, and now we have spin offs of those where the people are actual superheroes. So, I mean, I'm good pretty much no matter what. Thanks for watching.